try to get everybody under control?
It's been very difficult, and if you go back and look at us through the season, I think you'd have to say that we've played better against people who try to run the football and play a more physical brand. Our kids play hard and they play physical. We've had some mental mistakes and other things where when you spread us out, we've had some guys out of position, and I think that they do a good job of both. Now, having a tight end out, we're expecting a little bit more spread. 4 wides, 3 wides, 2 back, 3 wides, those type things. And so we've kind of tilted the practice reps in the last few days that way. But I'm sure they've got a good backup player, and we're certainly going to see the tight end offense. But it makes it very hard. And then we've got a guy like Ponder who can throw it around and stretch you. Or you got a kid like Manuel who can run it when you spread out the field, stretch the field with 4 wides. Again, you got 2 different problems. You got a major problem.
Right here.
Shawn, with Garrett out, Jarrell King, he'll start in that guard spot, or somebody else?
No, Terrence Campbell will start at left guard for us. Jarrell's going to be capable of playing the left tackle, left guard position if we need to. We'll go with that one.
Right here. Back.
Shawn, Marcus's ball security, how impressed have you been with that, particularly since he's a freshman?
I mean, anytime you go through the season, you do what he's done, you've got to be impressed, especially the times that, these guys up front miss the blocks and he gets hit right smack in the mouth. I mean, he's holding on to that thing so well. Him as a person, him as an athlete, you got to look to him or look to a guy like him and just say, wow, how he was raised, how he's coached in high school, and now how he's coached here in South Carolina by Coach Graham. He takes to coaching really well. He didn't hold on to the ball as well as he should have in high school, and coming in here and he's taking to what Coach Graham has taught him to do by carrying the ball and how to protect things. He's done a great job. So we're real blessed to have both he and Coach Graham here on our staff.
Coach Johnson, you mentioned a minute ago that you were talking with some folks at Clemson, I imagine, about Florida State. I'm curious, are there any unwritten rules about, I feel okay crossing conference lines to talk to this guy or sharing with somebody, and does it change whether it's bowl or regular season?
No, I don't think so. A lot of times we will find that conference teams won't share some of the things they have, but the guy I was talking to, this 6-year-old over here was named after him, so he was pretty helpful. But we got a pretty good friendship. But that's pretty common. I mean, you just call and you share some feelings about what you saw on film and so forth, and it's, yeah, we agree or whatever. But there is a little bit more, I guess, when it's one of your conference teams. For example, if Oregon called and wanted to talk about Auburn, I wouldn't be that excited about sharing that. I'm an SEC guy, so. But it's pretty common. There are a lot of things throughout the season that are shared by, people against common opponents and sharing ideas and things.
Time for a couple more. All right, last chance. Anyone over here?
Coach Elliott, Coach Stevens said that y'all were going out to dinner tonight. How'd that come about? What do you hope to get out of it?
I think that was put together here by the Chick-fil-A Bowl Committee, so, I don't know what we're going to get out of it. Probably not a lot of X and O talk, I would imagine. It was just an opportunity to get to know one another a little bit better and enjoy a good meal, and enjoy the rest of this bowl week, and have a little bit of fun and relaxing time together.
Can you pick the brain of a guy who's been around coaching the offensive line for so long, as long as he has?
I don't think at dinner tonight's the time to be doing that. He's a guy that probably wants to go out and just relax a little bit. Sometimes you got to get away from this football and clear your head and just think about some other stuff, and that's probably more so what we'll do tonight.
Shawn, just overall your first year at USC, how has it been? Has it been more challenging than you expected, about the same, maybe a little less? How has it been overall?
It's been real exciting. I came into this season not expecting, I didn't have really any expectations. Had a limited number of offensive linemen. I really didn't know how good the quality was, whether it was good or bad. We had to develop as a group and as a team and see where we might end up. I knew we had talented players around us. I knew we had a solid defense. So I was really excited about the fact that if we can put together something more so a little bit better than average on offense, we could be a pretty good football team. And then with Marcus coming on board and Alshon Jeffrey, Steven Garcia playing well. It all came together, and then the offensive line, you know, they haven't played great, but they played well enough to win some pretty big ball games. So I've been pretty pleased. It's been a fun experience. It's something we want to continue building on this week and into Friday night, and hopefully, you know, somewhere around 11:45 midnight come New Year's, that I can look back on this season and say, man, it could be one of the best seasons ever South Carolina's ever had. So it could be a real good night.
Back here.
Shawn, were you proud that your guys won the eating contest the other night? You expect to do well in the milkshake contest.
Coach Johnson brought his dog along, so we had that guy put him to the table, so they were feeding him the beef. Nah,
That may be a violation. We're gonna have to look into that.
you know, I told those guys, I said, listen, we want to win Friday night. I don't care about this eating contest. Y'all enjoy it, but don't kill yourself. We only got about 5 of you guys to go out there and play, so be careful. But yeah, I guess we won that pretty handily.
Any predictions for the milkshakes today?
I don't know, these guys, unless they have about 2 or 3 weeks to prepare, they don't do so well. So
We'll give them about 5 minutes. So, all right, right here.
Ellis, who's maybe an unsung guy for your defense this year? God maybe doesn't get enough credit. Maybe Antonio, Melvin, guy like that.
Yeah, Antonio's really had a good year off and on, made some big plays for us. A guy I'm really proud of is Josh Dickerson. I didn't have him penciled in as a starter coming into it, and I think he started every game. And you know, he barely played at all last year. I think even Straughter had more plays at line of scrimmage than he did previous season. So I really feel like he's a guy that's been overlooked. Mike linebacker is good, and not only in playing, but in setting your defense, quarterbacking your defense, and some of those things. And I'm really proud of him the way he's taken on that duty. Rodney, I think, will probably be better next year than he was this year. That knee will continue to get better, but he just never was back to his form. And Josh, I think, carried that load and did a very good job with it year-round.
All right. Anything else? Right here.
Coach Johnson, for y'all to win the East this year, I think it's easy for someone on the outside to say, well, it was a down year for the East and so forth, and you know, things kind of went their way. But looking forward, is there any reason to think that y'all can't continue what you started this year?
Well, I don't think there's any reason to think you can't. But I think when you go back and look at the number of close football games, look at all the factors that went into it, and I don't mean to turn into a media person all of a sudden. When you look at the number of losses that everybody sustained in the conference and those type things, you just have to kind of be realistic. It's always going to be a tough year, you know, in this conference. We've got a lot of players back and really got a lot of experience coming back, but we lose some key people. And it took us 4 or 5 weeks to figure out how do we cover for the losses that Eric Norwood took with him in pass rush and in just that respect. And it will take some adjustment next year to replace Lottie and Cliff. Those guys have been starting now 8 years between them, I think. And that's a lot of experience in the trenches, which is one of the most critical places. And we don't have a lot of depth there. So while you look at it and you say, oh, you got 7 people coming back and starters and all this, I think sometimes it can be a little misleading about the true depth and quality of your football team. So I don't know where we are. Somebody asked that question earlier about turning the corner. I think we made a big step this year because I think our players know that we can play with the best people in this conference. But I think that when you talk about building a program, there are a lot of other things involved than 3 big victories. You can have a team or you can have a program. The team wins some games on a given year, the program is there every year. And I don't know if we're there not, you know, at this point or not.
Okay, back here.
Ellis, I know you were asked this question back in Columbia about the play of the secondary, and I think you felt like people were putting too much blame on individuals, you know, with big plays over the top. With an offense like Florida State and their ability to strike deep, is that still a concern for you, the breakdowns back there?
Absolutely. My comments so earlier were about the fact that it's kind of like the quarterback. Quarterback throws an interception, everybody blames quarterback. They don't know the receiver broke the route off at the wrong time, or the protection broke down and the quarterback got hit in the arm, what have you. So life in the secondary is very similar. When there's a glaring mistake back there, everybody sees it. Some of the deep balls that got hit the previous game, we got a busted blitz. And a defensive back is playing the technique exactly the way you tell him to play it, but there's no blitz. Okay, and then one of the first balls is hit. There's a guy that looks like he's getting beat in coverage. There's supposed to be a post player who wasn't there. So my point was, every time you have a big play on the passing game, everybody thinks the secondary is wrong. And oftentimes they're not. Somebody else is wrong. But we've had too much inconsistency. The thing that bothers me back there is inconsistency. And that is an area where you can't have that. The ball rolls through the second baseman's legs, you got an extra base. And it rolls through the center fielder's legs, you got to run. And that's what life's all about back there. So we've got some playmakers, we've got some aggressive guys, we've got some tough guys. We know they'll hit, we know they can run, but you can't be wrong that many times. You got to be more consistent. And this team they'll test you, no question about it. If you're going to get double moves every game, it tells you you're not getting very much pass rush. Because to do those things, you got to know you got time to do it. So there are a lot of things that need to be corrected other than the defensive backs. But they will test us. They've got good skill, and they've got two very good quarterbacks. Obviously, they're good up front, so it'll be a big test.